That year where I was smoking an L and I was surrounded by a handful of people, and I remember saying to myself, like, bro, like these conversations are always the same. I can't do this no more.
Yo, welcome back to the Paralyzed and Prosperous podcast. As you can see, I'm in a hotel room and my light's terrible, but I'm with my people, man. I'm always with my people. So shout out to Miss Alala. How you doing today, Alala?
Well, what's up, everybody? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Doing good.
I feel like we don't get to actually ask you enough how you are doing in the podcast.
Well, I don't need on that. I'm here for y'all.
No. Now that she planted that seed in my head, now we're going to make sure you're the first one. After you asked us, we're like, nah, we're going to check how you doing.
Mm-hmm.
Respect.
How you doing, DK? Talk to us.
To keep it 100, I'm doing great, man. This fast has been amazing. It's been another great fast. Again, I told y'all the last fast was the first one that I personally stayed committed to. So with this being the second one, I'm like, I can do this every month, so it's amazing. And it's giving me a lot of spiritual and mental clarity as we, kind of talked about.
Amen.
Awesome.
Amen for that.
Amen. But hey, I still got to introduce my guy, Jorge. How you doing, Jorge?
Blessed by the best, man. We good. It's a season of gratitude. I was just sharing with you guys earlier how I had to, I've been doing I've been on top of my game. I could say that entering 2023, I've been handling my business, but there was some things that were kind of like I couldn't really pinpoint my finger of what wasn't aligning, or it wasn't giving me the results I was seeking. And after this week, I started realizing like there was a lot of I allowed myself to get around a lot of noise, and so I had to shut down. Like I realized that, I think I gave you the analogy that when you take a sponge and you put it in a cup of water and it sucks up all the water, if you try to take that same sponge and you put it in another cup, it just kind of floats because it's already sucked up what the capacity of what it needs to, what it could observe. And so that's why I believe that I was in the season that I had to I had to quiet the noise. Creativity level went up higher. I could listen to Daddy a lot better. And I'm just focused. And I was asking myself, what was the difference? And it was just the distractions. It was really, social media was one of them, but just not just that. In general, just like bro, like we got an agenda. This is what we need to do today. Let's stick to what we said we were gonna do. And it's been amazing. Not only in school, it's been amazing at home, with the wife, and just in general. So I feel good. I was just telling you, I'm a little drained, but in a grateful and a gratitude way, because there's a difference, and I want y'all to really receive that. There's a difference of exhaustion. There's two different types of kind of exhausted. You could be exhausted just because you're moving around and being busy and looking busy, but not really moving the needle. Or you could actually be exhausted because you hit those targets and it feels different. It feels good when you are actually knocking things off of your list and doing what you need to do to move that needle. So yeah, that's where I'm at, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the season. I'm grateful for you guys as always. I'm grateful for God to God loves on the kid. He stays loving on the kid, man. And somebody in the gym today asked me like, how you doing? I'm like, man, listen, I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled.
All the best. Now it's interesting that you said that, because Mama Steve always said that. She was like, all my life I've been good at systems. I've been good at jobs. I've been good at things at church. But she was like, she always talks about us, like me, you, Ally, and Kayla as well, how she doesn't think that she could do what we do. And it's like, it's crazy that she said that, because now she's doing what we do. But I guess she means more side of things. She always says like, she doesn't feel as though she has the brain, if she was dumb exhausted, to just keep going. So it's very interesting because that truly is an entrepreneur trait.
Well, it's really, and we're gonna go right into what we want to talk about. It's really understanding who you are. And one of the things that I understood about myself is that the old Jorge, and there's still some trace in there. There's still some residue of the old Jorge in there. and praise God for self-awareness and where he has me for the last 7 years, because I don't get it twisted. I've been successful. I've been doing this for almost 25 years, meaning having my own business. I became an entrepreneur when there was no blueprint, there was no social media to show me what it looked like. It was just a gut instinct. I was like, I don't want to work for somebody. Like, and that wasn't that it was embedded to me. Somebody told me. I just knew. I'm like, bro, like working 9 to 5 and checking in, it can't be it. It just can't be it. And I remember people telling me like, yo, but how are you gonna do it? You never been to business school. You never. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But watch me, right? Like, watch me. But one of the traits that I had that had that residue was that I would get so distracted with shiny little things, and I would be extremely busy, and it made me feel good because it seemed like I was productive. But for years, I didn't realize I was just doing circles around myself, chasing my tail. And so once I entered this space of like self-awareness, and I really started digging back, because you hit a plateau, and you got to get to a point that you got to identify like, yo, why is it that I can't get past this hump, this ceiling? And it was that one of the main reasons was that I would get extremely busy. I would feel good about myself because it seemed like I was being productive and active. But the reality is I was putting energy to everything else but what I needed to do to move the needle, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It really it's two things that come to mind. It's I always say, like, don't be Adderall busy. You know, like people who take, sometimes they'll take it and they'll be mad. I see people all the time. People literally will prescribe it, they'll take it or overtake it, and they'll be mad busy, get a lot of stuff done. They can seize on every single thing. So it's like, don't just do it because it's there. You know, don't be Adderall busy. Another thing that comes to mind is this thing. My coach, and he wasn't a great coach, but this saying always
he had to add that. He had to add that in. He was like, he wasn't a great coach, but
no, I had to add that in.
Shout out, Cole.
Anyways, long story short, he always used to say, don't have mommy hustle. That's the only thing that I ever remember from him. Don't have mommy hustle. And what that means is don't just be out here hustling. Don't just be out here just doing stuff to look busy. You know what I'm saying? Actually do something to be intentional with.
Mommy hustles. Okay. I don't know.
Mommy hustle.
Yeah, mommy hustles. Like, oh, mom, like a mommy or like a mom?
Like a mom, yeah.
Yeah, that was disrespectful. Like, we like, mothers out here acting like they're looking busy. Like, I don't know. We're gonna leave that alone. You might want to refrain from using that little coach's refrain, because that don't even sound like he was just being politically correct. Like, mommy hustle. Don't try to act like you out here trying to look busy.
Think about the game. Like, your mommy is just up in the crowds in the stands, so you're trying to look busy for her on the court. That's basically what that's saying.
Oh, that I seen that. I received that in a whole different.
Yeah, I went somewhere else with that.
I glad you jumped in there and clarify that. I was with you. I'm like, yo, coach, what are you talking about?
I'm telling y'all, man, Jorge.
I can get us canceled, Steve.
I'm like, bro, we not with this. Right? Yeah, we are not about this. You know, and be honest, we started talking about this because the reality is that we want to bring to you guys, you know, one of the things that you really have to be able to be aware of is sacrificing who you are to become who you choose to, right? And I'm gonna repeat that, right? Sacrificing who you are today to become who you seek to be tomorrow. And the reason I say that is because, and we'll go down the panel, right? Like, kind of share what that is for you. But that's why I brought that up, because I had to find an era, a space of where Jorge would literally sit there and would dream and would involve myself with everything, and I would justify all that movement and everything, but I wasn't really moving. Like, I was not like I can't say I wasn't moving completely, because again, I've been doing this for a long time. But if I look back, I could have gotten here a lot sooner. I could have gotten here a lot more healthier. I could have gotten here a lot more intentional. And so I remember clearly that it wasn't so much about, you know, not looking busy, because that was just a trait that I had. But I remember sacrificing from smoking weed. I remember smoking, you know, like towards the last, you know, I remember that year where I was smoking at L, and I was surrounded by a handful of people. And I remember saying to myself, Like, bro, like these conversations are always the same. I can't do this no more. I just really can't do this no more. I remember dudes, just being high, talking about some random, and it was just like, it started hitting me. I was like, yo, you have to, for you to go to where you seek to go and become who you want to, you gotta dead that old Jorge. And so I again, what is that for you guys? Yeah, for me, I had to, and it was layers to me. First, it was I had to start letting go of the gangs, right? I had to check myself at, I moved from Connecticut to Worcester, but mind you, I was hanging with the same people. I'm not talking about the same people, but I'm talking about the same people. Meaning they look different, but it was the same character, same behavior, same energy. And so I remember even being in Worcester, and I remember checking myself. I was like, bro, last time you was doing this, you almost lost your life. What's next? Life in jail? Or losing your life? You got paralyzed. And so that started becoming the catalyst of like, yo, I can't do this no longer. And it started planting a seed in me, and yo, like I can't be this man no more. And that took a process. But before I talk about my process, I want to see what you guys think about, what does that mean to you, right? Sacrificing who you are, even today, like forget the past, like today, sacrificing who Jorge is to become who he seeks to be in 5-10 years from now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess for me, that's a little bit layered. I think one of the things, I'm trying to think about the best way to word this, but I think there are things that we all know we need to stop doing to have the things that we say we want.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's, we talked about sweets, right? So if you get on the fast, like stepping away from sweets. Realistically, we have the science to prove how sugar impacts our body. Now, I just got done telling y'all about Tres Leche cake. I just don't see sacrificing that in this season of life. Well, I eventually, yes, but now I'm not. But I also think about the things that you do have to take time and take a step back because they're not as obvious. And I feel like the things that aren't as obvious are probably the really big killers. You brought up a very good point about having the same conversation over and over. I think that is such an indicator about needing to cut ties, make food sacrifices, make food shifts. And I feel like that tends to show up a lot in our interpersonal relationships, right? Friendships, relationships with family. For myself, I had that interaction, I remember, with a friend. Love her to death. Great person. Refused to do what was necessary to get better. So imagine it's 6 months, 3 years, 6 years, 10 years later, we're having the same conversations about the same struggles because they were not willing to sacrifice to make the changes necessary to have a better outcome. At the same time, my part in that was I keep having these conversations with you.
Enabling.
And I look up, and oh my gosh, we've been on the phone 2 hours. But if I'm spending 2 hours with you every week for 5 years, having the same conversation, those are my business building hours. Those are my fitness hours. Those are my, let me read this book. Let me invest in a class. Like, that's my time. It's my time. So I think it's a little sneaky stuff that isn't as obvious that's really detrimental to us. And again, that comes in time. That comes with some self-awareness. That comes with some humility, because you got to be willing to accept the fact, I'm not doing what I need to do to get to where I need to be. So one of the things I know that helped me was actually setting a little bit of a schedule for myself in terms of phone calls. I don't take phone calls before a certain time, unless it's like y'all or like my mama.
She don't even take our calls. I don't let her lie to you. Our phones are mute. She told us if there's an emergency, call 911. First, call God. He might look 911. Call 911, and then third party, you hit me up because by then would be daytime. Yeah.
But I want to be clear. If you guys call, it will ring. Some people will call it won't ring. It will go straight to voicemail.
We love you for that. Thank you. Praise God. Praise God.
But because, and I hope this helps someone.
Yeah.
Because this is a friend. This is probably somebody you've known for a long time. This is family. This is whoever. They call you at 8 a.m. They are complaining at 8 a.m. You got to put boundaries in place. So mine is I don't take certain phone calls before a certain time frame.
Yeah.
And I don't take certain phone calls after that time frame because I want to be able to rest at night and not have to worry about regulating my nervous system because my nerves are shot because we've been on a conversation, right? So that was just something that helped me is really having to pay attention, I guess, to the subtle things, being more aware, but then also acknowledging what I was sacrificing. And what I mean by that is what was I losing by not doing the actual sacrifice?
Talk that talk. That's yeah.
Right?
Talk that talk.
So I needed to put the boundaries in place, sacrifice some time with people or even things. It wasn't always people, but I'm a little bit of a people person sometimes. So mostly people, so that I could actually allocate my time towards the things that it needed to be allocated towards. Because, listen, there is a horrible feeling. It is a horrible feeling to have a conversation with someone and try to encourage them, try to help them get better, try to give them the strategy, the resources, all that. And you don't get your stuff done. And 6 months later, they're still in the same position.
Yeah. Forget 6 months later, a year after that, right? Still talking about this.
A year, 2 years, however long, right? Or they're just jumping from person to person, complaining about the things that are happening in their life. You're wasting your time. So yeah, I think that was big for me. Starting to try to recognize some of that subconscious stuff, trying to recognize the different outcomes that I wanted from what I was actually getting, and then putting the boundaries in place so I can make the necessary pivot.
It's huge. It's huge. Because
that is huge.
You got to identify those areas, man. What's good with you, DJ?
I think, Jake, just to kind of go back to the subject you're talking about, I think that for me, it was when I was single, even before I met Megan, I was I was the type of person where I was doing personal development. So I was figuring it out. I wasn't figuring it out under God, right? So what I was doing was I wasn't being a quote unquote player. I wasn't lying. I was being respectful. But I wasn't being the God or the person that I felt like God wanted me to be for him to bring somebody like Megan in my life, right? So I felt like I had to change up even the things the small things I was doing, whether that's social media, whether that's messaging, whether that's the way I look or talk to girls. I had to change up all these things for it to even, and I didn't even know that was what I was doing at the time, but to even get to a point where God's like, okay, well, now you're ready for me to meet that person that I have for you. Right? So I feel like
you was a playboy out here. Okay, I listen.
I was not here. I was not here playing. I was out here telling the.
Oh, you was doing. All right, my bad.
So that's the thing. That's how I justify it. Unfortunately.
No, that's real. But you know why? I don't see that trait in you. So to even hear that, that's dope because that's going back to me and you. We've been rocking for a long time, all three of us, and I don't see that in you. I don't. So the fact that you body the old DJ, right? That's you don't because I don't get even that sense of you. So that's why I was joking around, but I'm not joking around. But that's huge, man. That's huge.
Yeah, man, 100%, man. So I'll say that's my example of it because it's I really had to put down all the small things, even certain things I would watch, movies, etc. Put down these things to even become the person that I didn't even know I was trying to become, just to become the best me at that time, to be honest.
Hey, listen, man, and what it really comes down to is this, man. What are you willing to sacrifice? You heard all three of us, and I think that Alalai, I love the fact that Alalai gave you, a different perspective in the sense of it comes in different shapes and forms. And you got to really identify what that as, because, she gave you the sugar, right? That's a personable, like, that's something that, she's not ready for it. Like, that's that, and she knows what it does to her, and she knows that it doesn't align with some of the things she wants, but she's all right where she's at with it. Some of you guys are not all right with where you at with certain things and what you're getting out of your actions and what you're producing through relationships, through habits, right? I talked to you about just me smoking weed and being around, like, weed's legal. I don't even know why. I respect those individuals that always operated of never tasting a drink of alcohol or smoke or anything. Like, that's a level of commitment. So, but the reality is this: you have to identify what that is for you, and how much are you willing to let it sacrifice what you want. And that's really what it comes down to. It's not for anybody to judge you, right? But Paralyzed said, like, when you have a relationship that is taken away from your development, your time, and this person, as much as I love you, you're not growing, there's got to be adjustment. I think that went further than what it should, because I think she said it was like, what, 2 years? That should have been 6 weeks into it, and you should have caught yourself like, okay, you know what? We can't do this, because after 6 weeks, after 3 months, that's a coaching program. I just coached you, and if I coached you through this, and you still didn't really even change of one foot in front of you, no, I'm for real, right? That's what we do. We coach for 3 months, and so if you're not even grasping it, and all you do is have a relationship by hearing you talk, then that's okay. That's cool. That's what you like, but I can't do that. So I don't want nobody not to miss what we're talking about, man. Whatever it is for you, and obviously we all gave you our version of what that is for us. DJ talked about just on a personable level where he had to change some characteristics, and I gave him a shout out for it, because I'm like, I don't even see that in you. But that's truly when you have repents, when you really decide that, I just don't want to, I want to dead that characteristic, that trait of mine, that way of doing things, because it has to start there. You got to get to a point that you repent, that you no longer want to activate or operate off of that character or that behavior, whether it's Jorge looking busy and looking extremely busy, but not really moving the needle, right? That's an ugly trait for me. Yeah. That's an ugly trait for me, because I'll be honest with you, who does it really hurt? Like, somebody must say, but who's that hurting? Well, it hurts me, it hurts my wife, it hurts my family, it hurts my team. Like, it hurts anybody else that believes the brand and is under the brand and wants to really rock out with us, because we're not operating out for greatness of mastery level. So you got to identify what that is for you. You got to really do an assessment and really understand, like, okay. And what the problem is, some of us are not ready. I think, going back to the sugar, some of us are just not ready. But I want you, if you're not ready, like, just stop talking about whatever it is that you're not getting, because you're not ready to make that choice. I had somebody, and I did a consultation called Alalai and DJ, and I told them, where you at on the spectrum? And what I was asking him is, like, where was he at in life? Like, where did he feel like he was being productive or not? He's like, oh, I'm right in the middle. So I was like, I was curious. I was like, what does that mean? He said, listen to this. But this was real, and I respect him for even saying that. He said that he's tired, but not tired enough.
So there you go.
I was like, oh, okay, so none of this is going to work until you get to the point that you're tired enough. But he was realistic with himself. He was really talking his truth, and he was just like, I don't think I'm tired enough to do what I got to do.
Yes. And shout out to him for being honest about it, because a lot of people aren't honest about it. So then you're investing in programs, you're investing in coaching. Like, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your time. And you're not helping yourself, because then when you fail at that thing, or you don't complete that thing, then you feel bad and you're in another cycle. So you have to be honest with yourself about where you really are and what you can accomplish at that level.
And what you're willing to again. And I'll be honest, after the call, he took my number, and it seemed like just having a conversation gave him a next level of awareness. And I told him, whenever you're ready, you reach out and we get this work. But it's one of those things, man, guys. And this is why we brought the topic up, because again, we always try to make sure that we are again, we share what the transition is for us. And there's something that there's a Jorge right now that is in front of you that you're hearing that I'm ready to dead in certain behaviors that it's not going to be the same Jorge I'm going to be able to rely on 5-10 years from now. It's just not it. There's some things from Jorge, and I got a great heart. I'm an amazing friend. I believe that, I'm always working to being a great husband. I work on being a good father. But there's these things when it comes to my desires that I want, that I'm not always hitting the mastery level. And so as I look around people that I love and I aspire to eventually one day be at that level, they don't have those traits in them. And if they do have those traits in them, they kill them right away, because where I'm seeking myself, where I see myself in the next 5-10 years, where I see us, not just me, I see us, there's certain behaviors that they can't come along on the ride, because I know God's gonna put us in the room, but it's not gonna keep us in the room. And so you got to dig deep. You got to really identify what those things are. And it could be something that you actually do know. And it could be some of those things that are happening that you're probably not even being aware of. But you got to be intentional. You got to dig. You got to do the homework. You got to really evaluate yourself and self-assess and really what are these patterns? If you're tricking off time and you're just wasting a couple of hours with someone that is just not really, then maybe that's called entertainment. Are you willing to entertain for as you keep going, or do we put that time in somewhere else? So that's where I'm at with it, guys, man. And when I said that I wanted to talk about this, is because I have several people in my life that they want a different life. They want a different life, that they want different results, but they're not ready to sacrifice who they are right now. That they're not ready. And so, what happens is that you're literally you have a relationship with just hearing yourself talk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's healthy.
Mm-hmm. It's not healthy whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, any close arguments? I want
arguments.
Close and stay.
Close.
Yeah.
No, and I feel bad for just now, because this is one of those days where I always talk to you about. It's like sometimes when I'm with you and we're working, I'm just like so lasered into what you're saying that I don't have preconceived replies. I know we're on podcasts or whatnot, but it's still, I receive regardless of anything. I always receive what you're talking about. Yeah. And I'm glad that we brought up the subject today, because this was huge for everybody in 2023.
Hey, man, listen, we're here for each other. We learn from each other. So praise God that we could, we still do life and business, and we are at the level that we can learn from each other. But that was the reason I brought this up is because I'm in the season. There's some things that Jorge has to buy, like dead, right? Like when I mean dead, I mean like really sacrifice, who I am right now to become who I seek to become tomorrow. And there's some residue in there, and I share this because I'll keep it 100 with y'all, man. I'm not like mastery, personal development is something that there's not a destination. This is a journey. So every room that you're about to get in, it requires more of you. And I think some of y'all really think that some people just, they good. They got, I don't care who it is. We choose to be better. I don't care if it's the A-list celebrities or rappers or whatever you want to call it, actors or number one motivational speaker in the world. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, whoever you admire and you see, they have to make a conscious decision always to, identify, make adjustments, and literally become better than what they were yesterday. And so you gotta get off that, oh, it would be nice type of energy. Nah, it would be nice if you stop talking about it and you get about your business. It would be nice if you stop crying to people and having a relationship with negativity, because that's just what makes you feel high or makes you feel good. Like I promise you, like, I don't know why you're telling 5 different people the same problem, because at this point it's just a relationship you have with hearing you say and being in anger and being in this numbness, and I'll be honest with you, people are tolerating you. They're not even really celebrating you no more. Because you know what? People like Alalai eventually start realizing, like, bro, like, this is a waste of time. So the people that are listening to you, if they haven't caught on to it, they're going to catch on to it. And then you're going to find yourself isolated. Then you're going to blame the world because nobody want to rock with you. Nah, it's not the world. It's you. Like, you got this name about you, got this pattern, then you continue to preach something that it's just like, after a while, it's like, bro, like, I don't know what to tell you. You either do or you, either way is all right, but don't bring that noise over here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, listen, man. I love you. I love y'all. Stay safe out there. Any comments before we do leave, guys, that you want to give the people?
Man, honestly, to be honest, like she said, like we said earlier, I mean, we're fasting. I wanted to leave y'all with the fact that we are fasting, but we're reflecting on a lot of things. Again, this fast that really showed me a lot of stuff. And on the fitness side of things, I've learned, just to leave y'all with a little nugget, I've learned that on the fat, like, you should intermittently fast while you're fit, while you're working out. So it's actually a good thing to the people who do fitness.
Let's go. Anything else from the Queen?
The only thing I would say is, like, hurry up and embrace the journey of sacrifice. And I think it's important for people to know that you're going to have to forgive yourself along the way too.
Yes.
Because you're going to come to some point where you're going to realize that you wasted a lot of time. And it's easy to get stuck in another negative cycle, right? Of like self-pity or whatever else. So I think, embrace the need for change quickly, forgive yourself for the mistakes, and then actually make the change.
Yes. Well, you already heard it, man. Listen, man, we love y'all. Keep tuning in. Next week, we're going to have some fire, and we're going to keep bringing this information. We're going to keep sharing, and we're going to share our journey. It's never perfect, but we're going to make it as perfect as possible, and we're going to keep rocking, always putting God in front of us, and always just being, eager to again, be better than what we were yesterday. So keep your head straight. Go from that paralyzed to prosperous mindset, and it's one step at a time, brick by brick, brick by brick, brick by brick. And sometimes you got to take 2 or 3 steps backwards to get at least 5 forward. So don't get out your emotions, just handle your business. We're here with you. We're going to take the journey with you, continue to walk forward. Let's go.